Hey guys, I'm Darren Miles with Darren Miles Photography, and I'm based here in beautiful, sunny Southwest Florida. And I always wanted to do this. I always wanted to take 4 different camera sensors with the same approximate focal length, aperture equivalent, or 35mm equivalent, and compare the results side by side to see what I get. Now don't get me wrong, I've seen these comparisons done before on YouTube and in magazines, etc., but I always wanted to do it myself and share my results with you. I mean, is medium format really all of that? Can Micro Four Thirds compete with its tiny little sensor? Does the camera sensor matter as much as the lighting, model, composition, etc.? And lastly, we're going to attempt to answer the age-old question that has raged for centuries. Does size matter? I don't know, but we're going to try to find out. Let's talk about the cameras and lenses that we're going to use in this shootout. To my right, camera left, we're going to start with the Olympus OMD EM1 Mark II. It's going to be paired with the Olympus 45mm f1.8. The total cost of this combination using today's prices, both of these items are still current and are still for sale at places like B&H Photo and Amazon. The total combined price for these 2 items is $1,398. Next, we have the Fujifilm X-T3 with the Fuji 56mm f1.2. These 2 are also both current items that you can buy today. The total combined cost of both of these items right here is $2,498 on B&H Photo and Amazon. To my left, camera right, we have the Nikon Z5, which by the way may be the single most underrated full-frame camera in the marketplace today. I love this camera. It's one of my favorites. It's my workhorse for real estate photography. But anyway, the Nikon Z5 is going to be adapted to a Sigma 85mm f1.4. Total cost of this combination right now, including the FTZ adapter, is approximately $2,795. And lastly, this behemoth on the end is medium format. This is the Fujifilm GFX 50S with the 110mm f2. Total cost of these new, again, B&H Photo and Amazon, is $8,298. Yeah, it's a lot of money. Okay, so with that, knowing what the cameras are going to be, let's go outside and meet our model and start shooting. We're finally out here on location with the lovely and talented Hannah. We're going to be doing a model shoot today comparing 4 cameras going today. I've got Micro Four Thirds, I've got an APS-C, I've got a full frame, and I've got medium format. We're going to take the same picture from the same spot using the same settings and compare the results to see what we get. I've always wanted to do this, and I finally had the opportunity and enough time to actually do it. We're going to start with the first camera, and that is the Olympus OMD EM1 Mark II. We're going to be shooting at just real quick, let's talk about settings before I get into this video. ISO 100, f2. We're going to be shooting at an EV or exposure value of -1. That could vary just a little bit. Now I'm going to try to shoot the subject from the same spot, from more or less this point on this tripod, so that our relative distance to the subject is the same the entire time. So hopefully that will result in a similar shot from all 4 cameras. All right, let's do this thing. So let's talk about our lighting setup before we get into this real quick. Over here, we're utilizing a Godox AD300 Pro. This, by the way, is the exact same flash as the Explorer, the Flashpoint Explorer 300 Pro. They're the exact same flash. They're interchangeable. They work beautifully together. It's attached to a glow, which is also put out by Flashpoint, 33.5-inch parabolic white umbrella, or it's like a white umbrella softbox kind of thing. We have it diffused with 2 diffusion panels, one inside and one that kind of covers the front of the modifier. As far as power output, it's going to vary between a half and full. I'm more interested in the quality of the results that we're getting from these 4 camera sensor sizes and these different lenses. And again, we're going to try to make the field of view as similar as possible by keeping the camera at more or less the same distance from the subject. So the first lens and camera up is the Olympus OMD EM1 Mark II with the 45mm f1.8 attached to it. And this, we're set at f2, ISO 100, an EV value of -1, and the flash is set at about half power. So here we go. Hannah, are you ready?
Ready.
She's ready. All right, and all these pictures are going to be shot in landscape orientation. Ready? Here we go. Beautiful. Gorgeous. Maybe like put your hands on your face and just kind of like turn your body a little bit sideways, a little bit this way. Yes, beautiful. Just like that. Lovely. Show me a little bit of a smile. Good. Hold it. Lovely. Okay. So that's the first done with the OMD EM1 Mark II. Let's go to the next camera, which is going to be the Fujifilm X-T3 with the 56mm f1.2. All right, the next camera up, I actually happen to have a tripod plate for the X-T3, so it'll be in the exact same spot for all of these. This too, the power for the flash is set at half. We're shooting at an EV of -1, which correlates to, let's see, a shutter speed of 3200 and f2. This is actually ISO 80 because there is no ISO 100 setting on the X-T3, at least not one that I'm aware of. Actually, wait, hold on, let me see. No, the next one is 160, so I've got 80 or 160. We're going to utilize 80. It's the closest I can get. So also shooting at f2. This is the highly vaunted or highly regarded 56mm f2. Gives us a field of view equivalent of about 85mm. All these lenses are about 85mm. So here we go. Camera and lens number 2. Hannah, are you ready?
Ready.
All right. Perfect. Beautiful. Turn your body a little bit sideways. Ooh, gorgeous. Hold it. Beautiful. Gorgeous. Ready on 3. 1, 2, 3. Good. Tilt your head just a little bit. Beautiful. Beautiful. Hold that. Lovely. 2 more. 1 more. Turn your body sideways and cross your arms like this. And get your left foot in front of your right. Yes. Beautiful. Tilt your head slightly towards your... Ooh, that's right there. You had it right there. Smile big for me right there. Beautiful. Okay. So that was the Fujifilm X-T3 with the 56mm f1.2 set at f2. Let's go on to the full frame camera. Yeah. Next up is one of my favorite camera and lens combinations of all time. It's the Nikon Z5 adapted to the Sigma 85mm f1.4. Again, set at f2, ISO 100. The EV is -1. We're shooting in manual, so that's about a shutter speed of 1/3200th of a second. And again, flash power is set to high-speed sync at half power from the Godox. You ready? Let's do this thing. Hannah, you ready? All right. Next camera and lens combo, the Nikon with the Sigma. Beautiful. Good. Gorgeous. Good. Lovely. Good. Keep those eyes open. Smile big for me. Beautiful. 2 more. 1 more. Lovely. All right. Okay, that was the Nikon Z5 with the Sigma 85mm f1.4 shot at f2. Moving on now to the big boy. Oh yeah. Boy, this is the Fujifilm GFX 50S with the 110mm f2. Full frame equivalent of about 87 or so millimeters. The aperture is f2, shutter speed is about 1/3200th of a second. Again, f2, ISO 100. Our model is ready, flash is set to half power, high speed sync. Let's give this a shot. All right, Hannah, last one, are you ready? Okay, cool. Do your thing. Beautiful. That flash, nope, because the flash isn't on. All right, here we go, on 3. 1, 2, lovely. Good. I just want to check this out real quick and see what we look like. And we look, oh, hold that right there. Amazing. You ready on 3? 1, 2, 3. Beautiful. Good. Maybe cross your arms there. Ooh, yeah. Svelte. I love it. Good. Turn your body towards the flash just a little bit. Yep, move your feet too. It's okay. Right? Shoulders back and just kind of turn your head away. Right there. I don't want your neck to crunch up too much, but that's still beautiful. Smile a little bit. Come on, Hannah. You got a great smile. There you go. Gorgeous. Good. 3 more. 2 more. Last one. Lovely. Now the real fun begins. What we're going to do is we're going to take all these images, put them into Lightroom, but I want you all to decide which one of these images looks best. Let's go into Lightroom and check out the results.
All right, guys, here we are in Lightroom. Not necessarily in order, and by the way, apologies for my voice. It's starting to crack this morning. I think it's a combination of allergies. I don't think it's COVID, but you never know. May is usually the time of year when the pollen comes out and the allergies get really bad, like really bad. So this is the first picture. Let's just take a real close look at the zoom in at a couple 100% here to show how sharp this is. That is a pretty sharp image. We've got some pretty decent bokeh back here. Now for the astute ones amongst you, you know that by the shape of this frame. These are all raw images, by the way. These are also straight out of camera. These have not been edited at all. You can tell just by the ratio of this picture that this is either the Olympus OMD EM1 Mark II or the GFX 50S with the 110mm. It's one or the other. We're zooming in 100%, actually I think it's 300% here to zoom in, and you see that's pretty sharp. And so if you are curious as to know which one this is, it is the Olympus OMD EM1 Mark II with the 45mm f1.8. That's pretty sharp with pretty nice bokeh. This is at f2 also. So for those of you that say you really can't get a good depth of field with Micro Four Thirds, I think this looks pretty darn good. All right, so let's move on to this is the second set of images, different camera. Let's zoom in on this just a little bit and see what we got. This is pretty darn sharp as well. Again, straight out of camera, these have not been edited at all. Also, that's some pretty nice bokeh there too. I mean, this is really good at subject isolation. This looks really, really good to me. So let's take a look and see which one this one is. Very sharp, nice and contrasty, looks good. That is the Fujifilm with the 56mm f1.2 set at f2. You can see Hana is nice and sharp. All right, let's move on to the next set here, which I believe is here. So this is camera number 3. And you can see, zooming in at 200% here, great detail, really sharp, really nice subject isolation. That bokeh is just melting away. I mean, there's hardly anything back there. You can't make out hardly any of this. You just know that she's in a field of green somewhere. This is the 85mm f1.4 shot at f2. This is from the Nikon and the Sigma. And last but not least, let's take a look here. This obviously is the 110mm from the GFX 50S. And it looks like this first shot actually missed focus. So let's go to the next one. It focused on her earring here, but not on her face, even though the eye detect AF was on. There we go. I mean, this is probably a good example of that medium format look. When you zoom in on this at 100% or a couple 100%, you can see it's really focused on her eye. There's so little depth of field with medium format that even her ear is out of focus, and you can see it hit her eye pretty much dead on, or pretty much the tip of her nose and her lips and her eyes, pretty well dead on. That looks pretty good. Let's see. This is another shot here. Let's see if it gets her eyes in this one. Yeah, there you go. That kind of nails it. That's about as sharp and as good as it gets. By the way, you can tell it was 1,000,000 degrees out. One of the downsides of beautiful, sunny Southwest Florida is come May timeframe, it starts to get hot, like really hot. So let's go out of full screen here and just go back in and just take a look at the images that I marked. And you know, I have to say, in general, I'm most pleasantly surprised with the Olympus 45mm f1.8. If you've been watching my channel for a while, a couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago, I did a video on my favorite Micro Four Thirds lenses, and one of the lenses that I highlighted was the 45mm f1.8. For what it is a remarkably great lens. I just love that lens. I've always loved that lens. It's beautiful. The rendering's awesome. It's cheap. It's pretty incredible for what you get. It's not built all that well, but optics and results are just outstanding. And then let's see, this is the Fujifilm 56. Just take a look at a couple of these up close and personal. And these images will clean up beautifully. You can see these are all raw, and you can tell that the straight out of camera, I've not adjusted anything. These are all all the sliders are all set at 0. I've done literally nothing. And you know, that's pretty darn sharp. That 56mm f1.2 is pretty awesome, even though all these are shot at f2, but so what? And then medium format, this is the 110mm at f2. That's also the narrowest or the widest that particular lens goes to is f2. And you know, if you move to adjust any of these, just to clean them up real quick, I'm going to click on auto just to see what that does. And you can see, I mean, talk about gobs of detail. I mean, holy cow. That's just like, incredible detail coming out of the GFX, just beautiful. And then last but not least, the 85mm f1.4 at f2. I'm going to adjust this one too. I just clicked on auto in Lightroom, which by the way I think is a pretty good starting point. But you zoom in and that's pretty awesome. I mean, great detail. It's just beautiful. So I'm not really going to rate these from 1 to 4. I am curious to hear what you all think in the comments section as far as the differences between these lenses. But I have to say, out of all 4, I kind of expected to get what we got from the 110mm and the GFX. What I'm easily most pleasantly surprised with is the Olympus OMD EM1 Mark II and the 45mm f1.8. The Fuji and the Nikon kind of came in where I expected them to, as did the 110mm from Fuji. But, excuse me, all in, you know, if I had to rate them in order, I mean, just from the sheer level of detail, this is just awesome. I mean, this is actually the 85, not even the GFX. This one right here is the GFX. And detail-wise, you know, can you really tell the difference between them? Honestly, probably not. I could probably make out a few more specks in her eye on the GFX than I can the 85. But even still, here's the one I adjusted. Even still, you know, yeah, it's a little bit sharper from the GFX than it is from the Nikon and the Sigma. But boy, you know, who's going to be zooming in like this to pick up that kind of detail? I don't know anybody. But anyway, if I had to pick an order, for me personally, it would probably be just in the order of sensor size. The GFX 50S is probably the best overall, and then it's kind of neck and neck between the Fuji and the Nikon. And then very close and very pleasantly surprised is that Olympus 45mm f1.8. I'm just going to click on the auto here real quick. I mean, that's pretty nice rendering right there. That's pretty beautiful. And, you know, these files are relatively tiny. I mean, Olympus, you can squeeze a lot of detail out of one of these Micro Four Thirds sensors. But anyway, I'm curious to hear what you all think in the comments section. I want to hear from you. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'm Darren Miles Photography, based here in beautiful, sunny Southwest Florida. Again, apologize for my voice. It's definitely on the way out. Hopefully it's just laryngitis and nothing more major. But anyway, guys, if you like videos like this, go ahead and give me a like, or better yet, subscribe, and please comment below. I do want to hear from you. Thanks.